In this video, we'll be finishing up the game by adding the boss spaceship into the final level. So, let's begin. To get started, we're going to be importing two new sprites, and these sprites can be found in the description. And the first one we'll be importing is from the Faction 5 spaceships. We'll be importing the F5S3. You can use any of these, but for this tutorial we'll be using the F5S3, and we'll rename it to the boss spaceship. After we've done that, we'll change its size to 60 and we'll change its direction to downwards 180. And then we'd also want to go to the costume, select the whole sprite and turn it so that it's facing right. And once you've done that, you need to upload another sprite, and it will be the health bar. We'll just import the first one that says health is 0%, and we'll move its x coordinate to 6 and its y coordinate to 152. And then we can go to the costume and we'll upload the rest of these costumes. And after that, we'll go to the code and variables, and we'll create a few new variables. The first one being boss spaceship health. And next will be boss invincible. Next will be enemy bullet mode, and the final one will be should spawn boss. And now we'll go to our boss spaceship and disable these variables except the asteroids left, and we'll start working on the code. So the first thing is going to events and select the when I receive start game, and when we do, we'll hide the sprite. And then we would go to events again and select when I receive and create a brand new message, and we'll call this message spawn boss. And then we would go into an if statement and go to operators and select the equals to operator, and go to variables and select should spawn boss. And if this equals to true with a capital letter, then we can go to events or control rather and go to operators and wait a random amount of time from 3 to 5 seconds. And then we'll go to control and create a clone of myself. Afterwards, would bring 4 when I start as clone blocks, and the first one will work on the movement of our boss spaceship. So we'll go to variables and then just set up the beginning variables. The first one being boss spaceship health, we'll set it to 20, and we'll also set boss invincible to false. And boss invincible will basically determine whether or not our boss can be shot at or not. And then we can go to the looks and show it, and go to motion and have it go to the coordinates 0 by 200, and we'll have it point in direction 180, and then we'll have it glide for 1 second to 0 125, just as the mothership does. And then we can go to control and select the forever loop, and we'll go to variables and set boss invincible to true. And this is when the boss is going to do its teleportation, and the boss won't be moving normally like any other enemy, but instead we'll have it teleport to different positions so that it's difficult for the player to know where to shoot when it's teleporting. So we can go to control and select the repeat 10 block twice and put this right under here, and then we'll go to looks and we'll change the ghost effect by -5, and then we'll actually repeat this 20 times instead and get rid of this repeat, and then go to events and we'll wait for 1 second, and after that we'll set boss invincible to false. Make sure to write this with a capital letter. The first letter should be capital, and then we can go to control and select the wait block, and we'll have it wait a random amount of seconds from 1 to 3. And after this seconds time has passed, we will go to looks and set the ghost effect to 100. And actually right here we should change this by -5. I forgot to edit this value. And after we set the ghost effect to 100, we'll go to motion and go to a random position. So we'll pick a random position from -193 to +193, and we'll keep the Y position as it is already and put this right under here. After this we can work on the aiming of our boss spaceship, and for that we'll go to control, select a forever loop and go to motion and have it forever point towards our player. After that we'll go to control and select a forever loop and bring in an if statement, and we'll say with the operators equals to operator and bring in the boss invincible, and if boss invincible equals to false, then we'll be shooting bullets. So we'll use the pick random with the wait seconds block, and we'll wait from 0.3 to 0.6 so that the bullet shooting is not consistent. And then we'll go to sound and we'll start a sound, but we'll need to go to sounds and import the laser small 002 as the same file from the previous tutorial. And we can go to code and we'll just select this sound, and then we'll put this underneath the wait second, and afterwards we'll go to variables and we'll set enemy bullet mode to point towards player, and after we've set this enemy bullet mode, we'll set the enemy bullet X and enemy bullet Y to the X and Y position of the clone, and then we can go to control and create a clone of the enemy bullet, and then we would want to go to the enemy spaceship, and right here if we go to variables we would need to set the enemy bullet mode to point downwards with a small W, and put this under the start sound, and then we can go back to our boss spaceship code and complete the final when I start as clone, block, and what we'll start with is a forever loop, and right after it an if statement. And we'll say if touching the regular bullet, then would want to go to variables and change boss spaceship health by -1, and we'll also broadcast a brand new message, and this message will be called boss lose health. And we'll just click OK and put this right under here. And then if we go to control and bring another if statement, we can go to operators and select an equals to operator, and go to variables and see if boss health equals to 0. Then we can go to our enemy mothership and just bring in this code, but remember to bring this boss spaceship a bit up so we can import it. And afterwards we can just take everything after this stop scripts in Sprite and then just get rid of the rest. And then we can drag this inside here, and afterwards we'll go to events and just grab this wait block and select wait 0.2 seconds and put this after the repeat 5 block. And then we'd also want to go to the control one more time and go to operators and select the multiplication operator and write 0.5. and if you do not know, this asterisk usually stands for multiplication in not just Scratch but a lot of different programming languages. And then we can go to the fire rate multiplier, 1, 2, right there. And now that we're done with the boss spaceship code, we can move on to the boss health bar. So I've just renamed it right now, and we can go to events and first start with when I receive level select menu, and then we can bring another one saying when I receive boss lose health, and we'll go to looks and hide it when I receive level select menu, and duplicate this and show when I receive level 5. This is where the boss level will be. And then we can go to control or events and go to looks and say show. And right here, when I receive boss lose health, we would want to switch costume and then also switch it again when I receive level 5. So when I receive level 5, we want it to be 100%, and you can go to operators and select the minus operator and select -1, and go to looks and bring in costume number. Now we just need to edit the enemy bullet code, and what we'll be doing here is just grabbing on the repeat until, moving it downwards, and grab 2 if statements and bring this pointing direction and put it in the first one, and go to motion and select point towards player, and we can just put this right under here and connect it. And then we'd want to go to operators and select 2 equals to operators, and we'll go to the enemy bullet mode and place it in both operators, and we'll set the first one to point downwards and the second one to point towards player, as we've set it up here, point towards player, and right here point downwards. And that's all we need to do to edit our enemy bullet sprite. And next we just need to go to our bullet and create one final OR block, and we need to find the root of it, and it's right here. Put it in the first one and go to sensing and say when I'm touching the boss spaceship, and just zoom out a bit so we can actually put this in, and there we go. And to finish this off, we just need to fix one bug from our previous tutorial. If we go to the enemy spaceship dropper, we want to remove the start sound from here and actually put it, just duplicate it and put it under every time we have a show block. So under these two show blocks. And that's it. If we go to the backdrop, that's where we need to insert the code for level 5. So we'll just duplicate this and remove everything under these 3 set variables. All we'll do is set should spawn boss to true, and actually that will mean we won't need this one under here, so we can remove this as well. And we'll go to events and broadcast spawn boss, and what we can do is wait until, go to the equals to operator and wait until our boss health equals to 0. So actually we would need that back, so we can set the boss spaceship health to 20 again, just in case this happens before the boss health is set to 20. So after that we can just, if this is done, all we'll need to do is broadcast level select menu, so the player can play the game again if they would like. So now let's go to the level 5 unlocked, set it to true, and let's click play. If we click on this, we can see that the boss health is still showing. So when flag is clicked, we don't want to show it, but we want to hide it. That was a mistake. And to round off the game, we should create one final variable, and we'll call this variable boss left. And instead of setting boss spaceship health to 20, we can set boss left to 1, and instead, if we right click on this variable, we can set boss left and wait until it equals to 0, and then go to our boss spaceship. And instead of having these motherships destroyed, we remove 1 and set this to -1, put the delete this clone back, and change boss left by -1. And then we should change this when I receive to level 5. And right after we change this to level 5, we want to go to events and select when flag is clicked and bring in a forever loop. And what we'll be changing is moving this play sound until done block into this forever loop. And the reason we're doing this is if we play the game normally, and for example we're in level 2, we've destroyed 11 asteroids instead of the required 10 right here, it will not set it to 0 because we're waiting for this sound to finish, and then it will change it back to 0. So we need to move this over here and have this run forever without any interruptions of a sound. So let's play test the game and see There we go. Beat the boss. So if you want to truly play the game from beginning to end, make sure to change level 5 unlock to false. So that's the end of this tutorial series. I hope you enjoyed making this game from start to finish. There could be an extra tutorial if you feel. Just write down in the comments if there's anything else you'd like to see added into the game. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next video. Goodbye.